not excused from making the music you want to make just because you don't have the equipment you want. You have to take what you have and make do with it. You may not have the luxury of having all of the mics you want for recording an acoustic drum set. You may not even have an acoustic drum set. But today, what that means is we're gonna figure out how to take a single mic and record an acoustic drum set. What is up, Yoshis? My name is Beth and I run Steadfast, Ascent, and today we are going to be talking about how to take one mic and making the acoustic drums sound very good. I'm sorry to all of my German friends who just had to listen to that. Yeah, sorry. Now, sound engineers and drummers alike will tell you that there is no substitute for a real drum set, and recording one can be kind of a pain in the butt. I mean, if you've ever been to a local show, you know that the way they mic a drum set, there's a lot of mics usually. Unless, of course, you're in a tiny, tiny place, and then, you know, the drums are too loud and everyone is mad at the drummer because they're overpowering everyone else. But the point is that normally you probably think you need a lot of mics, but this is simply not true. Now, obviously, it's nice to be able to control the snare by itself and the kick by itself, but we can use mic placement to have much the same effect as you would get in terms of a MIDI and separating each track out and being able to specify the tracks. Because the issue with having a lot of mics is that you kind of can sometimes run into phase problems. It's meaning that the sound that's hitting this mic is hitting that mic at a different time than it's hitting this mic over here. And so it kind of sounds really muddy until you get the sounds phased correctly and so that they're all in sync at the same time. You don't have this problem with one mic. With one mic, what the mic sees is what the mic gets. And so you have a well-mixed sound, honestly, if you place your mic in the right spot. To clarify, you could, and I have seen it done, take a single mic and mic a single drum piece at a time. This is functionally the same though as using a MIDI drum set because you are just taking the one sound and telling the DAW when you want that one sound to play. And so while you can do that, if you really hate the sound of MIDI snares, it might be beneficial to you to just actually record yourself playing the snare part and then repeating that for each part, and that just sounds like a lot of work, and I don't actually recommend that, but that is the first way that we say you can record drums with one mic. Each of the rest of these 6 methods will have to do with mic placement. So the first method is called the Chad Blake method. And basically what you do is you stick the mic in over the kick and you point it at the snare. You stick it underneath the cymbals, and if you point it right, and if you have a large diaphragm microphone, which is the best for this, but you will make do with what you have, not with what you want, you'll get a really poppy snare sound. If you need to have more of the kick, you just move the mic closer to the kick. If you need to have less of the kick, you move the mic up from the kick. And this creates a pretty well-rounded drum sound. For the second placement, it's called far room, and basically what you do is you take your mic and you stick it up in the air and you point it at the drum set far away from the drum set. You want the kick to be facing the mic for the simple reason that you want to have as much of the kick sound as possible. This will capture the entire sound of the kit and give it a pretty realistic, in terms of I am actually standing here listening to these drums, sound for you. The next way you can use a single mic is called near room, and basically if you take the spacing from your far room, you shrink down the mic a little bit and you bring it a little bit closer, it's the same thing. You take your mic, you point it at the drum set, voila. The perks of near room over far room is that you're going to get less of the room sounds, which is going to be better if you're trying to get a tight take. If you want to have more of a live take, the far room may be a good option. Now, another way that you can do this is overhead. So you take your mic and you point it over the drum set straight down at either the snare or the kick, depending on what you need more sound out of. The perks of doing this is that you can get more specific parts of the drums to sound in your tracks based on where you point it. If you are trying any of these methods and you are finding that there is a drum that is making way too much sound for you, you might want to try behind the drummer or over the shoulder. Instead of pointing the mic at the drum kit from in front of the drum kit, you go behind the drum kit and you point the mic at usually the snare, but you can also point it at the kick, just depending on how much sound you're getting. Putting the mic behind the drummer allows you to mute certain sounds. So for example, if you're getting way too much snare, putting the mic behind the drummer means that you can put the drummer between the mic and the snare so that the snare doesn't, explode your speakers. So that's that. These are 6 ways that you can use one mic to record your entire drum kit. By taking one drum piece at a time, by sticking the mic over the kick, pointing at the snare, by putting the mic way over in the back of the room and pointing at the drum set, by putting the mic closer in the room, pointing at the drum set, by pointing directly overhead at the kick or the snare, or by pointing from behind the drummer at the kick or the snare. Now, at any point in this, if you get your final sound, and say you only had one chance to get these takes, you can supplement your sounds with MIDI drums. So for example, I had to do this in my recent cover of Broken Vessels because the recording that I got had not had such a great kick sound. So what I did is I just took the kick track out and I replaced it with a MIDI kick track. But the snare and the cymbals, man, those sounded great. And the whole sound, I mean, you can check it out and tell me what you think, ended up sounding pretty good. What I could have done is I could have just taken the natural sounds and muted them a little bit and then used the MIDI to supplement them and really bring out the tones that I really wanted. And that would be what I would recommend to you if you get home and you're like, oh no, this recording sucks. You just use that recording then as a piece of what your entire drum track can't sound like. If you've had to record acoustic drums with just one mic, go ahead and leave us some tips in the comments below. Let us know what works and what didn't. Let us know what you liked about what you did and what didn't work so well. If this video has helped you at all, it would mean so much to us if you would let us know by giving us a like. And if you're interested in learning more about home recording, go ahead and subscribe because next week I'll be talking about best practices for recording guitar amps. And before you leave, go ahead and let us know. You're here, clearly, with one mic trying to record an acoustic drum set. What mic are you trying to use? Let us know and we can help you in the comments figure out which of these mic placements might be best for you. And as always, thanks for watching.